Hello there, and welcome to episode 8 of the Transformers TCG Cityspeakers podcast. We've done 8 episodes. This is crazy. Huge shout out to all of the people who have been listening to us and giving us feedback. Much love to you all. As always, I am your host, Kev, along with my gorgeous co-hosts,
Matt
and Mark.
That's right. Excellent. So today we have got, it should be a pretty short one, touch wood, right? We've got not much to talk about. We had
it's never short.
We had a weekend of events.
I feel like we jinx ourselves by saying that every time.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? It's fine.
I don't know. We could get distracted by like 2 hours of spoiler talk, like last time.
There was a lot of spoiler talk, but we're very hyped for Wave.
Yeah. I mean, who isn't?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Who isn't? So this past weekend, we had 2 events. One in Brighton on the Saturday and one in Southampton on the Sunday. It was our big farewell to the Wave 3 meta. So long and goodbye. It's been fun.
But that wasn't all, though. It was a goodbye for something else as well.
I believe there was a twist involved as well. You were saying goodbye to Wave 3 meta with a twist.
With a twist.
A twist.
A previously agreed upon between the players twist. We should mention. not just. Oh yeah, by the way, we're doing this 2 weeks early or whatever. But yeah. So as far as I'm aware, I don't know if you did it as well, Kevin, but I know Matt said they were gonna do the press ban in advance, just to kind of like almost like a practice, just to see what people would bring without now that press is not around, basically.
Yes, we announced that for the event we would enforce the banning of press a little bit early, just to give people a few extra weeks to come up with some Decepticon lists if they wanted to. I can definitely say in Southampton I saw a lot more Decepticons.
Okay,
this
good.
weekend, which was nice.
Yep, there was certainly more our way as well.
And nice. I certainly felt a lot safer playing Soundwave. So it was good all round. Yes, personally, I'm happy to see that card go. I am a control player, and you can't really play control out of red. So I like to play purple. Bring on Wave 4 for more control tools. I'm really excited for it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I don't know what the word is. Not ecstatic, but pretty damn happy that card is gone, because it was one of those cards that was just limiting people's deck choices. Like, people just like, oh, I like this character. Oh, it's a Decepticon. Don't even bother. Like, it's okay, I think like that's not good for a game. But
even as an aggro player, going should still be a good thing. Like,
that's what I mean.
You're able to further the game. Like, you're now not just going to be able to see a flood of red teams on the opposite side of the field, and
because that was the thing, that if you wanted to play Decepticons and you wanted to play aggro, you got one choice. You got one choice.
It got quite
and
limiting.
Nobody likes playing it. Nobody likes playing it. Nobody likes playing against it. Everyone hates the deck, but that's your only choice. But now, hopefully, maybe there'll be some more options.
Yeah, and obviously we started to see the emergence of Shockwave, so like he seemed to be like the only real viable blue option.
Yes,
And
now we got Soundwave as well.
And now, after returning from the Energon Open, and Drew basically telling us that don't sleep on Soundwave. He is actually good, guys. Mm-hmm. We all came home and was like, well, maybe we should have a look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turns out he is pretty good.
He seems all right.
He's been my pet project since the Open. I think the difference you have though between Soundwave and Shockwave is, whilst both do have a hand discard mechanic, which is obviously great, right? As a control player, if you can strip their hand, awesome. They're like top decking, great. Like, okay, cool. That's why Shockwave didn't really mind press too much, is because, well, they're probably only going to play one.
Sure.
And you can probably
like you limit their hand so much that they're probably only playing one card.
Yeah.
whether it be an action or an upgrade. So if it's press, then sure, it
they
wasn't
have
press
to-
and a grenade launcher.
And
Yeah.
if they have one early on and they play it, cool. Then they're not going to have a hand to pick up another one if they see it. So
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
sure.
relying on ripping off the top, which does happen. We saw that happen in the Engine Open. But yeah, that was why Shockwave had some resilience in it, and obviously the 17 health helped a lot.
Yep.
He was a big boy.
And Soundwave's not far off at 15.
He's not far off at 15. He's a little bit less resilient, but you have the advantage of being able to save him from getting hit with the four wide lineup.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, 4 wide in as much as Blaster is essentially 4 wide.
Yeah.
The choice that I can see, it becomes a choice, is what I'm trying to say. Is that it seems like the choice you have to make between those two decks is: do you want Shockwave, which is just he doesn't care what he's discarding, he's just discarding their whole hand, or Soundwave feels like a bit more controlly in a sense where like you actually get to look at their hand and actively choose which card you're getting rid of.
Yep.
So I can see that being like a lot more appealing in certain matchups, and like I think I'd prefer that to playing Shockwave personally.
You have to remember their hand a lot more as Soundwave, because as Shockwave you're just like, it's gonna get gone.
Yeah.
Like by turn 3 or 4, if not earlier, right? They're going to be top decking. Whereas in Soundwave you're not going all in on the discard. You're going in enough to give you the knowledge you need
just to limit their options. And
to limit their options, exactly.
It's like an advanced espionage sort of.
Yeah, well, when I played against Dave playing it, that's what he was doing. He was using Soundwave's ability to look at my hand, and then the next turn playing an espionage, or the same turn, like to then get rid of another card that he saw that he didn't like.
Yep, perfectly fine. Also, being able to look at their hand, if they've got 1 action, 3 upgrades, you're like, okay, I'll take the action and then security checkpoint you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that too.
Oh dear. Right. Cool.
If that's a King Starscream player, they're probably just going to scoop.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really much coming back from that, really, is there?
That is.
It's like you took my reclaim and then you got rid of all my equipment, my mining pick and my crowns. Okay, cool. I can get 1 back next turn by flipping, but you just ruined my entire game plan. So yeah.
But I need all 3.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I really enjoy the idea of being able to control the game like that. The Transformers TCG. It's a difficult. Playing control in this game is a lot different to playing control in other games, because your turns are obviously limited anyway between your actions, and so spending an action to control what your opponent's doing may or may not be good enough.
Yeah.
When you're doing the same sort of 1-for-1 plays. But yeah, I love playing control. So I'm looking forward to wave 4. There's a lot of blue cards.
Yes, a lot of blue love.
A lot of blue love.
Blue's getting buffed in this patch.
I'm not looking forward to playing sealed, because I am looking forward to playing sealed because new cardboard crack, right? I'm going to get a good bit of fix from that. But also,
there's a lot of blue.
There's a lot of blue,
but there is a lot of black.
There's a lot of black.
So even though I think that evens itself out for sealed, though, there's a lot of double black pips.
There's a lot of
exactly. It's the multi-black pips that I think is
important. You're going to get a lot of damage through.
Yeah.
But there's not any.
And even at the common level as well.
Removal.
There's one card, right? Reprocess.
There's 2 cards.
Right?
Is there 2?
There's reprocess and
the
secret action.
Oh yeah, I guess
yeah. So one of those cards is great. The other one,
I don't know,
is a card.
It's in
going to be sealed. I think reprocess is probably better because it's green.
I think you have to, if you see it in your pool, you have to play it anyway.
Yeah.
Because
it's going to be necessary.
There's no other way to get rid of stuff, right? And people are going to be like, well, here's my weapon master. Do you have an answer? No? Like,
it'll be
It's like,
really
yeah, it's
unfortunate.
like, yeah, there's one in there somewhere. Just wait for me to flip it, and then I'll fetch it.
It'll be really unfortunate if your team is like, I don't know, 4 wide or something, and it's just really small, because you're then
Yeah,
healing
yeah.
them too from that reprocess. It's like, I'm
It's
just
only
going to do that
it's only
damage
one
again.
though, right?
Oh,
Is it only one damage?
what reprocess?
Yeah, or is it 2?
It's
I think it's just heal 1, right?
it heals 2. Heals 2.
Is it 2? Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's 2.
and like it's going to be very hard to stop the Astro train from
Oh my
rolling
god.
over your face because
Well, I think the thing that the Astro Train wants to do, he's not really going to be able to do in the Siege 2 sealed set. Because I think he wants to play the extra paddings and attack drones, really, in a constructed field.
Yeah.
But he's not really going to be able to do that in a sealed setting.
There's no cards like that in this set apart from, the only one is
No.
the action, right? The War of Attrition.
with only
Sure, yeah,
two
yeah.
removal options in the pool, you just go.
He's
well,
still going to be strong. Yeah.
Here's an upgrade. Do you have an answer? No. Excellent. Next turn, here's an upgrade. Do you have an answer? No. Excellent. Third turn. Oh, there's third upgrades. Deal with that. And you're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just fall over for a bit. I mean, the secret action is very good.
Yes.
I really like that card. Like when revealed, destroy all weapons on the attacker. That's great.
It's good in both matchups, both against orange and against blue, because it seems like a lot of blue people are like, well, not necessarily every deck, but the decks that are doing well at the moment are using multiple weapons, like attack drones, like General Megs and stuff. So that's going to work against him.
Yeah.
And then against orange is going to get rid of their grenade launcher or their rag lightning, which is great too. So it's going to do work in every matchup, I think.
I mean, being able to kill battle masters at instant speed.
Yeah. Oh, that too. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Like,
Battle Masters is the one. I think.
PTT'd your fire drive. That's great. It would be a shame if I were to destroy that immediately.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to make it even tougher for aggro players to decide when to go for the Peace Through Tyranny. Because, like, if you've played a secret action, is it worth risking it? Probably not.
Especially if they're running multiples, right? If they're only running that secret action, then you can play around it. If they're running multiples, you're like,
yeah, that's what I mean. The guessing game's going to be crazy.
It's like, I think it's worth noting, with Bolster and the Scrapper Gauntlets thing. I understand that with Fire Drive and Lionizer, for instance, that you get the plan from Lionizer and you get the discard to pump from Fire Drive.
Yes, you do.
Before the secret action reveals. So
yes,
maybe it is still worth it. Like if that's going to be the kill. But
maybe with Fire Drive. If you're going with Fire Drive and you know that
the plan isn't going to be
the be got enough cards in hand to just pitch your whole hand and kill them with even if the -3 does go away. I mean the +3, then that's not going to be too much of an issue. But the guessing game's going to be crazy because there's a tough 3 one now as well, and then there's that one which destroys the weapons, and there's the Battlefield Report, which I think people will still play because of the card draw.
Certainly when playing Fire Drive and discarding cards to make that kill, the being able to do the math exactly is very, very relevant. And and you might not have an extra 3 cards in hand to counter it. So if you discard enough cards to kill on the nose by doing the math, even taking into account blues and whites on defense, you then lose 3, which means that you're not killing the guy, and that can be very, very relevant. So yes, they can pitch the cards, but if they're pitching their cards and not killing your guy, you're loving it.
So what we're saying is, regardless, it's good.
It's tough. Yeah, it's going to be tough for the aggro player to make that decision. Once the secret action's down, to actively Peace Through Tyranny, because it could still be Infiltrate, which could just cancel the PTT anyway. Like,
I'm really happy that we can now force aggro players to make tough decisions.
No, it's good. I agree.
Because they don't have enough.
Nope. I'll say it. I'm an aggro. I am an aggro player. Bugs is brain dead. Blaster's brain dead. They're both brain dead. They do the same thing every game, sequencing wise, pretty much. Like, there's no hard decisions like that. But now there will be hard decisions like that, where it's just like, okay, I have to think about this a bit more than just, okay, I do this every game. Yeah, sweet. I've got my piece of tyranny. They're tapped out. Let's piece of tyranny. Blah blah blah. No, it's not going to be like that anymore.
And that promotes better play, right? Because
yes, yeah.
If you're forced into a decision point and you actually have to think about it, then you're going to grow as a player, which is really important for new players, especially those that they might have just bought in with the Soundwave versus Blaster Box, or they might have been playing Bugs, which is a very good deck for new players to learn the game with. You can be like, well, here's Bugs, right? But and it's pretty basic, but you are going to have to think about this, and this. And that just promotes growth as a player, which is important.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Like, those decks are great, don't get me wrong. And when I don't want people to think that I'm like bashing on them, because I play both those decks. Like, but there's not much. There is some thinking involved in certain matchups, but yeah, most of the time you're just kind of autopiloting. And in Blaster, you're just reacting to your free flips, whether it's a good card or a bad card. And then Bugs, you're just, oh, I didn't quite kill someone. Okay, I've got to think about this a bit more. Like,
if you've played enough reps with blue decks,
it will be the same. Yeah.
You can get to a point where you know what you're doing, right? You can see how the turn's going to go. You know what you're going to do doing it next turn or the turn after that. But the point where you get to autopiloting blue decks is a lot further away than it is for autopiloting red decks. So yes, it's just it's a very different play style, and one that I think everyone should try a bit of both.
For sure, yeah. I don't think you can be good at one without actively playing the other. Because it's the same as a fighting game. Like, if you're bad against a character, the best way to learn how to beat that character is to actually pick up that character and play it yourself and be like, oh, okay, this is where the holes are.
Yeah, this is where it stumbles.
For example, when I played the Game of Thrones living card game, I was exclusively a Martell player because I love control, and Martell's a very controlling faction. Most of their strategies rely on it. But I was a Martell loyalist, so I didn't play like 7/8 of my collection just went unplayed because I was like, well, I don't.
There's that too. Yeah.
And as a result,
almost like throwing money away.
Yeah, I was a pretty good Martell player, but I didn't play anything else, and as a result, arguably my tournament results could have been better if I'd played other things. But as a loyalist, I was like, no. But the benefit, there's no loyalist. You can be a loyalist in Transformers.
It's a lot harder to be though.
But it's a lot harder to be.
Yeah.
Which is why certain stores who are like, oh, you can't mix teams. That
I think that is
quick.
That's about as far as you can be when it comes to loyalty. Is like faction. I think.
Yeah.
Even then, it's tough.
It is tough. Why you can and there's nothing wrong with being a loyalist.
No, definitely not.
You just have to accept the fact that your results may be hindered as a result of that decision, which was true for me. I made some top 8s, and I did well at a few big events over my time playing the game, but my knowledge of how to beat other decks was not as good as it could have been by not playing those decks. So by playing both aggro and defensive strategies, you learn the weaknesses of both. So take your time, build multiple decks, and just get your reps in, lads. That's how you learn.
It also allows you to be able to switch on the fly when the meta changes. So, for example, me, I've been playing aggro pretty much since I started playing this game, but there's no way I'm playing aggro in Wave 4. Hell no. Are you seeing all these blue cards? What's going on?
You have to learn how to play blue.
Well, I've been playing blue on the side the whole time. That's the thing. That's my point.
No.
Is it?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but that is a big thing as well if you want to be a tournament player, because if you're only an aggro player and the meta just is not favorable for aggro at the time, and then what are you going to do? Like, you're just stuck. You know one thing, and that thing isn't going to do it. So, okay.
It's going to be very weird now, because now that we've seen the whole set,
Yeah.
we can confirm that the set is predominantly blue and black.
Yes.
Yep.
This might be the first metagame season.
Yeah. Call it a season.
Yeah, I've been calling them seasons for a little while.
This could be the first metagame season where aggro doesn't have the advantage on release.
Yeah. I think somebody else mentioned that I saw as well, and yeah, it's true. This is the first one where I feel confident playing blue at the start.
Yeah. So this might be a case of the people who are already building decks and testing stuff, and I'm sure they've been testing stuff for a while now. This might be where they're going, oh, we're not building blue decks to beat orange. We need to find the orange deck that beats all these blue decks. So it's coming from the other side for the first time since the game.
Yeah. And also,
it's very, very interesting.
The blue decks have got a new bad matchup in these black pip decks, because that's a whole new thing. So I mean, that's the only thing that I can see throwing like a wrench in the works for blue at the beginning, is somebody coming out of nowhere with a hyper aggressive black deck.
Do you think that we're going to have a third piece of our pie now? Do we think we've got the rock paper scissors with the release of set 4?
I don't know.
Is black strategy at a point where we can have, okay, aggro beats control?
Well, that's pretty much going to be the question that we're all going to be asking and trying to answer through the whole season, I think.
Right, that's it. I don't know
if it's even partially there, then I can expect us to see it growing from there on. So it might not be evident immediately or even during the course of wave 4, but maybe by wave 5 or 6, it could actually be a thing.
Yeah, are we going to get to a point where orange beats black, black beats blue, blue beats orange? You know,
I would hope so.
Yeah,
if I'm honest, I would hope so.
Obviously, there are going to be decks that favour different matchups better, but we could have that 3-piece rock paper scissors meta game going on where the results are going to be a bit more even spread. Maybe we won't see dominance of blue. Maybe it will be a bit of a mix, but who knows? The black pip, I haven't been happy with the black pips yet. I know we were trying Devastator as black pips base.
Yeah.
And they just kept well, all my guys get one shot. So
it's like, and that's kind of the plan, but we're still not putting out enough damage. Well, I wasn't at the time. I mean, no. I'm still going to try it, but I think I need to just wait to have the cards in hand, because we were proxying, and it's not the same as when everything is out. So yeah, I
think the Devastator issue you have is you're trying to do 2 different things at once.
I think you need to just give up on the tower and literally just only get to 6 if you're doing black. Just don't even try to get 10. Like, literally just only discard 1 card the entire game.
Yeah.
Just rely on getting the 5 deaths and then 1 discard to get your 6, and that's it.
That could be it. And yeah, I'm going to give it another go, because it was pretty good fun being able to be like, okay, so this turn I'm going to be doing 18 damage. Excellent.
Yeah.
It was a nice wheel turn.
Yeah, that's the thing. I still think you need to play 2 cards. So that's why. Like, even if for a black deck, I think you need to play 2 cards to get the maximum out of the pips, because you need the attack buff and like some sort of bold.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think orange black is going to end up being pretty good, but there is some blue bold as well, so it could go either way. But anyway,
it'd be very interesting.
Yeah,
shall see. So with that, how did your event go this past Saturday, Matt?
So it was a smaller one, and it was for the final of the season. Hoped that it would be a little bit larger, and then just on the run up, there was a couple of illnesses, and just people weren't able to make it over. Trains were an issue and things, so yeah, it dwindled. But we were left with 6. It was good. Meant there was no buys. I could play, which I haven't done for a little while.
Nice.
And it was a nice turn up actually. So we had 3 people travelled down. So I guess almost semi-regulars at this point. Dave Ralph and Wayne Wong made the trip down, and we also had John Hanford from Hastings make his way over as well. So,
Did he bring his
that was
massive
nice.
Omega Supreme with him?
He did bring his massive
Damn, I missed that.
Omega Supreme. Yeah, it's pretty. It's real pretty.
Okay,
Um,
I'm sad. I'm sad that I missed that now. I didn't even, that's how I just not with it. I was just like I
completely
cannot
forgot
do
that was a
anything.
thing.
Like I can't do anything this weekend. I need to just recharge.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make it, but I haven't asked Matt anything about the tournament, so I'm going to be finding out about the results at the same time
I
as you
tried
guys.
not to spoil as much as possible for that exact reason. So
Cool.
so I turn up and I try and get the like the vibe on what people are trying to do. So like whether it is literally just go all out and play as competitive as possible or what. And I knew that there was a living weapon there. There was a sunstorm there.
Ooh.
Exactly, right. With Presk on, Nemesis made a return.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe do I play the Soundwave that me and Kev have been talking about like on and off for the past week or so? And I was quite geared up to play it, and then I was just like, maybe I don't. Maybe I just played the fun thing that I've been trying to build for the past couple of weeks. So yeah, go on.
Is Soundwave not the fun thing?
Oh, I mean, oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, Soundwave's fun for sure. He's really, really fun. But it was more like I don't know. There's that.
No, I know.
There's
I know what you mean.
aggro side in me that I kind of like. I like quick games.
Yeah.
And
Also, because we do this as well, that also works towards that. Because sometimes I know when I'm at events, I kind of want to just get my matches done so I can walk around and see what everyone else is playing.
yeah. So I've been toying around with a weird concept of Jetfire and Ultra Magnus since the Energon Open. So the other thing that Drew said we should all be playing because it's really good.
Yeah.
And I come back from it and I couldn't work it out, and I was like, there's definitely something here with Jetfire, and I've pretty much said this from Wave 1 that there is something there with Jetfire. It's just trying to crack him, and so I'd have lists of him with just Ultra Magnus, starting with 2 wide. Didn't feel good, so Magnus came out and tried to turn it into a 3 wide build. And I'd settled on using Grimlock Wave 1 and Ramhorn as a third character. Grimlock, obviously, big punchy character, doesn't have a huge amount of health, so can die quite quickly. So with Jetfire being able to pick up utilities and armors, force fields, and I'm using braveries, it meant that Grimlock should in theory be quite survivable and be able to do his thing more than once.
Yeah.
So it was working to some degree, and I thought I would give it a go. I'd put it out into the field and see where it does fall. Ramhorn is in there. It's 5 points, and he's playing off the whole force field thing that I'm already trying to achieve with Jetfire. So
yeah,
it felt like it goes hand in hand. So what else did we have on the day? The funny thing is that I'd got this idea on who everyone might be playing, and so I made the decision on the deck I was going to play. And Wayne turns around and says, "Oh yeah, just play the fun stuff." And I said, "Okay, cool. So I'll play the Jetfire Grimlock thing."
Yeah.
And then I find out that he's playing Battlefield Legend. So
Of
you
course
know, so, like,
You got worked
so
by
play-
Wayne.
yeah, clearly.
Wasn't he playing Battlefield Legend in the sideboard of Superion last time? So
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you were there for that one, but
I think it was yeah.
That was just funny to hear that. It's like, oh, he's playing Battlefield Legend. Oh, okay, well.
Still
Good.
playing Battlefield Legend. Oh, that card.
It's very good.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, can't be denied. So round one, I get paired up against one of our locals, Alex, who makes our events every now and again.
Yep.
And we've over the past couple of weeks actually been having small talks about his blaster deck that he'd been playing.
Yeah.
So he's one of our players that doesn't have access to everything, and he's probably one of our more casual players that's not like actively seeking to collect everything either.
Yeah.
So he's happy with the things he's got, and you know he's really excited about playing big punchy robots. So with the tools that he had, I've just been trying to help him out. And last week he came to one of our casual meetups, and we played a few games where I was toying around with the Soundwave deck, and he brought along his blaster. So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. So like I'm playing something relatively fresh with Soundwave, and he's using a beefed up version of the blaster deck. So it would be nice to see how that now compares outside of that starter set. And after a couple of games, he's using all three of the cassettes from that box. And
sure.
at the end of the game, I think I point out, and he realizes that one of the reasons that we see only two cassettes is the flip intensity, and he'd fallen into that, not necessarily trap, but fallen into that hurdle that where you've got the two of the cassettes out and you want to bring out another, but you're now in the wrong mode, so you have to attack with blaster in cassette mode, and it's not what you want. And then he saw that that's the reason why people are using Battle Masters or alternate 7-star characters or alternate characters that don't need to flip, because that safety net is huge.
Yeah, it's very big.
And that works similarly for Soundwave as well. But it was really nice to kind of see at the end of that, after explaining it, it's like now you see that this is why people are using this.
You see the light
and
bulb
so
go off in
immediately,
their head.
yeah, you really do, and so that was really cool. And then he quickly makes a change into another character, and he didn't immediately have. I suggest Fire Drive because that's what a lot of people are using, but he didn't have him to hand, so he used. I forget the name.
Terexodon?
James only told me the other day. No, it's the promo one. And you already mentioned it earlier today.
Oh, Smashdown.
Kevin. Smashdown, there we go. So he uses Smashdown. He's not as good, but you get to see in action the whole flip thing.
Yeah, just the sequencing. Yeah.
So exactly, and the sequencing is really important. So he gets to see that. We have another game. It's closer, and he immediately goes, "I understand." You know, at the end, it's like, I can now see why people do this. So then we have another chat about the other options and things. So then he comes back to this event, and he's turned up with Fire Drive, and we played me and you, Mark, during the week. You using Blaster, and I was using this deck, and I'd quickly seen that it was not great for me.
to be fair though, I use Lionizer in Blaster, and I was swinging for I think I swung for 13 on my turn 0, like the first turn of the game. So I flipped a
Yeah.
power punch and just put it on line eyes and just swung for 13.
Sounds real bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was real bad.
That sounds not good at all.
So then I was sitting in that awkward flip situation where I was like, I can't flip properly. What do I do? So I lose that game. But yeah, sorry. Back to the game versus Alex. Yeah, so he turns up with Fire Drive. I can already anticipate that it's not going to go well for me as basically a 3-wide aggro build. So try and implicate the things that I put in. So with Jetfire, use the force fields and braveries where I can, put out as much damage as I possibly can, and yeah, he's just able to take me apart. There is a couple of mistakes that I made where I would forget that because I'm 3-wide, that I tap down sooner than he does. So I would kill Fire Drive, forgetting that he's now going to be equipped to Blaster.
Sure. Oh no.
Thinking, oh, it's fine. He's just got Steeljaw. He'll come at whoever, and that'll be great. No, he's still got Blaster that's now got a Fire Drive equipped. So, oh no, this isn't good at all. So yeah, I made that mistake more than once. So that's something I'm going to have to try and work out more. But yeah, it's a fun deck. The Jetfire Grimlock thing. It's mostly orange. Doesn't go too heavily on the bold. More for static buff. There is supercharge and there's a couple of supercharge and a couple of power punches in there, but it's mostly for what I'm going to call the transformational sideboard.
Yeah.
Where it becomes the Jetfire Magnus duo, but I bring all 10 cards of my sideboard in to make it work. It's not pretty. It's not clever. But,
me and you have talked about this quite a lot.
Yeah.
And whether it's like the right thing to do or not, because like you said, when you first started doing the Magnus Jetfire as the main team, it feels like you're limiting yourself because you then can't sideboard into a 3-wide.
Yeah.
But I think you just got to think of it like a Metroplex or something like that, where it's just like that is your strategy. You've got to stick to it, and then you use your sideboard to fix the bad matchups, like with the battle cards. Yeah, rather than a character, you just have to rely on the battle cards.
Yeah, I think I'm also maybe trying to get off the Magnus trigger more than I probably should do or need to. He already hits pretty big, like 5 plus the armor. He's already pretty solid.
But how many of the double orange, like the orange blue cards are you playing in the main deck?
So in the main deck, I'm using all the orange ones. There are none of the blues in there.
No, I mean like the rollouts and like matrices and stuff like that.
Oh, the dual pips.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 matrices. I'm not using any rollouts.
Okay. See, I think in the Magnus Jetfire main plan, then you would play the rollouts, and then that changes. You don't need to necessarily put as much work into the Magnus trigger because it will just happen. Maybe,
and I have
because you've got the
escape
armor,
routes
you've got
for
the
the
matrices. Yeah, true. Yeah, that too.
But rollout also is very useful with Jetfire.
Yes, yeah.
It's okay for Jetfire because it brings him back to his bold side, ready to flip back to grab another piece of equipment. But that's all it does. And like when you're 2-wide and getting the 2 flips, maybe even 1 flip from a rollout, it just didn't feel good.
Sure. So, I don't think you ever necessarily have to play it. It's mainly in there for the pip. But
but I felt at that point there was too many of those cards that were just in there for the pip.
Sure.
So yeah, that's why I didn't. But yeah, you might be right. It could well be a thing that I should look at. But going into the Magnus plan, I brought in handheld blasters as a bold if necessary, but it's the 2 blues, so in theory gets off the Magnus trigger. And I was already using, like we say, the matrices. I was using leap into battles, and something else. as well in bravery. So there was already a fair amount of blue. With the doubles, just ramped it up considerably.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, it was okay, and it was good fun. I did really enjoy it, and I think there is still something there.
Yeah.
Certainly with Jetfire. I don't know if the rest of the team is what I would continue with, but yeah, it's good fun. I'm detracting too much away from the game versus Alex now. So the game doesn't end too well for me. I learned quite a lot on how to potentially tackle the matchup. Unfortunately, it's all too late, and he manages to. In the second game, I go too tall because I think that's the better way to go, and think mostly through the element of surprise, I managed to take out Blaster and the cassettes and take the win there. But on the third game, he's got a better handle. He's able to go first and capitalize on that and manage to dismantle me quite handily. So it ends up being 2-1 to Alex, which is good. And it's a nice, like, from I was saying earlier, being able to see that turnaround from what had happened only a week ago, where we were toying around with stuff and showing him how to potentially use Blaster, and now being able to flip it on its head and actually turn those into wins against me was really, really good. So
Yeah,
if nothing else, I was really happy for that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's going to give him confidence in the deck and give him positive reinforcement that what he's doing is right, you know?
Yep, and it really was. So
positive reinforcement.
Yeah,
yep,
that was nice. Game 2, I then get paired up versus Dave, who brought along Nemesis.
I was going to say, was it because you said Nemesis made a comeback, and I thought it would be Dave.
Yeah, exactly. He had played it a lot through Wave 2, and I think once Siege hit, he was all aboard the Shockwave train. And now that Press is gone, I think he wants to kind of go back to one of his first loves. So he's fallen back to Nemesis.
What's the rest of the team? Is it Flame War?
It is Flame War and Aimless. Yes, yeah. And it is a build. It was a Nemesis build I have not really encountered before. It's crazy. Like, it flips so many cards.
Yeah, I think I've seen a video of it on. I forget whose channel it was. It's either Stefan's or Powered by Promises. One of those channels.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's
the same one. Yeah, it flips hella cards.
It's blue. It's using backup beams because it doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's using system reboots because it doesn't care. It's got brainstorms and just because you can potentially draw more cards. And by the time he's swinging, there's probably at least a card under him. But by the end of the game, so even versus an orange matchup like myself, we saw 4 cards under Nemesis before the game was over.
Whew.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
In blue, I can kind of see it. Like versus blue, I can kind of see it, but versus orange, like, wow, that went off. So that was just way too much for me to handle, and that went 2-0 to Dave. Well done for like a new approach to Nemesis. Like that was really good.
Nice.
To see.
Nemesis, he's good. It's gonna be nice. Well, nice and bad to see him back. It's gonna be nice to see him back, but not nice to play against him.
Yeah, I just didn't really have a means to tackle, like, because of the way that I'd approached the sideboard. I couldn't just have piecemeal things like I would normally like to do, like have 2 or 3 things per matchup to drop in. And I didn't really have that option. So it was just like, well, I've got my 2 options basically are to be 3 wide or to be 2 wide. And it just wasn't good enough. But yeah, very fun games though.
Okay.
Very, very quick. Considering very, very quick. And then my final match is versus another of our locals, James.
Okay.
He brought along Living Weapon, who
Yep.
he's been toying around with for a while for his articles. And so he's got Living Weapon, Fire Drive, and he's using Cassette Ravage.
Which one? Oh, Cassette Ravage.
Cassette Ravage, yep. So
the PS2 one.
base PS2, yeah, and grants tough to 10 costs or higher.
Yep.
And
considered using him with the King.
yeah, reasonable. Yeah, I think he's really good. He's quite overlooked, maybe, as
just the
that
fact
kind
that
of option.
you don't have to do anything to him. That's what I like about him. Is that you don't have to play cards on him. He's just got PS2 and he gives tough to everyone else. Like, he doesn't get tough himself, but yeah, all you have to do is just protect him and you're good.
I think the people would often play Flame War in that similar slot.
Yeah.
Right. But she grants it to everyone, including herself.
Yeah. That's the difference. But she doesn't have Pierce.
She doesn't have Pierce, and I think
he's only one health less as well.
I think the flip is relevant as well. So flipping to redirect onto someone other than Ravage, or in Flame War's case, flipping for bold. Like, I know which one I would prefer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In most instances, so I think those are the choices you need to make on when you're choosing between those two. I think overall, like, Flame War giving out tough to everyone sounds really good. But when your team is only small, and in this case, it's Fire Drive, who you definitely want dead at some point, and Living Weapon, Ravage just seems like a good fit here. Yeah. So
I like him a lot.
This was.
I'm sure it's the ability to start the game, flip Ravage, attack with Fire Drive, draw a card, and then
absolutely
flip Ravage down, and possibly attack with Ravage. You're not going to do any damage, but you're forcing a second attack onto Fire Drive.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, I think that's better in an orange matchup.
Agreed.
This is going to be the same thing with Deadlock, which is why I like him so much in the new set. He's going to do the exact same thing.
Oh, he's so good.
But anyway, we're detracting.
Yeah, he's going to be... no, it's fine. He's going to be really fun. So yeah, this matchup was really fun. We had 3 very, very close games.
Nice.
And open up, my classic 3-wide was able to take part the pieces just well enough. There was a nice bashing shield play. It only removed 1 padding, so it doesn't feel great, but he wasn't able to find a 3rd padding, or at least find an excuse to play it over something else.
He only had 2 at the time.
He only had 2 on, yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that so bad, so much.
Dropping him down to 1.
Yeah.
Dropping him down to 2, I probably wouldn't have made that play.
No, yeah. If they've already got 3, it doesn't feel worth it. But if they've only got 2, then yeah, I think that's
good. It then set up for Grimlock to be able to swing with a grenade launcher and from the escape route on himself to bold himself. Swing in for 15 on Living Weapon and put in a decent chunk. I think I had like 8 on him.
Nice.
Runs around another set of turns. Jetfire's got Bravery on him, so Grimlock's safe. Possibly with a force field, I can't remember at this point, but regardless, it meant that Grimlock was safe enough to go in again, and I was lucky enough to have another escape route in hand and drew into another grenade launcher, so I was able to just repeat the same deal. So nice. that was a good opening round. Is that the grenade launcher press? Grimlock, escape route.
Grenade launcher escape route.
Yeah. No, the new grenade launcher press is Intensifier whip showing off.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I'll have a bold 9 Grimlock with overkill, please.
Please
Sounds fun.
don't.
Then so we go into game 2. I don't change my lineup because I get the. I employed a similar tactic in the open as well. That when I'm going first, and I side in, I have a much better chance. If I go too tall, sorry, I have a much better chance. So if I've won in 3 wide already, I hedge my bets, go into the second game in the 3 wide. If I win again, great. If I don't, I get the opportunity to go first. So
Sure.
I can then side in, get that first opportunity, go in for the big swing early.
Yeah. Okay.
And in the game 2, he's now seen some of my tricks and was able to mitigate some of those and work out a way to get through me and yeah, able to finish off Grimlock and Jetfire. So we have to roll into game 3, which is where I bring in Magnus, and we try exactly that theory. So go in with a big swing from Magnus early to put a lot of hurt on someone important. I just go as far as I can with Magnus on to Living Weapon at this point. Somewhat frustrating because he immediately returns with Callous Leadership.
Ooh.
So yeah, it wasn't ideal. But I'm able to set up Jetfire with. At this point, I bring out the braveries because Magnus has brave. So I can control that a little bit better. So instead, bringing back different utilities, and I've got Quartermasters, so I can bring back Magnus Armor if need be, Quartermaster back over, or Matrixes when needed. So yeah, being able to get multiple heavy swings off with 2 big characters, messing up the flips a little bit from the other side, you then get to retaliate better. Yeah, it was a close win for the 3rd game.
Nice.
For me. So
Nice.
so yeah, I wasn't a great result on the entire day. The final game was really good, but the other two games were really fun as well. Yeah, being able to see Nemesis do what he did was pretty outstanding. If I'm honest, it was hilarious to watch. And then yeah, seeing the result from Alex as well.
Yeah, that's good.
And it didn't stop there as well for Alex. So
Okay, nice.
yeah, which was great. So he then went on to placing 2nd overall,
Nice.
which is really, really good.
Yeah.
Wayne took the whole thing
Okay.
with his Optimus Prime, which somewhat given the field, perhaps not a surprise.
What was
but
the rest of his team?
I really can't remember. I didn't get to face him. I think James did. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't write it down.
That's all right. I'll ask him.
But really nice. It was good of them to come down. It was a small event.
Apologies that I didn't see you guys there. I'll see you at the next
it's
one.
fine. Yeah. Well, we've got the release event in 2 weeks now, so
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be exciting. There's a lot of new faces that are kind of, or not new faces, some like older faces that are rearing their heads again to
Of course,
either
yeah.
come back or they've just got the time available now and stuff. So I'm expecting some pretty decent numbers for our release event. So
Nice.
which will be really
I'm
cool.
excited.
Good,
So
good. Yeah, and then it was Kevin for Sunday.
Yeah.
How was it for you and I believe Soundwave?
Yeah, so I've been trying out Soundwave. I've been tweaking him, over the last few weeks, getting my reps in. Um, and I decided that since it was going to be the last Wave 3 event, I was like, well, fine, I've got to take him. I did some last minute changes in my recent testing this week, deciding to, instead of using extra paddings to make Soundwave more survivable, I traded those out for evasive maneuvers so that I could slap them on my cassettes, so that they could survive against a barrage of aggro, because you need them to live to recover cassette and keep on going, and you need them to be able to do that against blue as well. So giving them a bit more survivability on an armor that you don't feel like you're wasting it because it will disappear. So that when you recover cassette, you're not going, "Oh, I've wasted this armor. How bad is that?" And I did think about force fields briefly, but I was already at my 8 pip, 8 white pip maximum. I wasn't prepared to go any higher than that.
Sure. You can
You
always
already
chuck them in a
find,
sideboard too.
yeah, even at 8, you sometimes do your aimless defense, and you're like, well, there's 3 whites. That's really bad for me, and that always sucks. So I couldn't really justify going up any higher than 8. And the 8 that I'm using were all very relevant. Another change that I made, I decided to remove pump for more burn. So I removed leap into battles for Inferno Breath,
Yep.
because guaranteed burn is probably better, especially versus blue. And given that I expected our event to be more blue based, given the banning of press, I was like, well, this seems a bit stronger in this slot. I also added in a copy of Smelt and 2 copies of Vaporize, deciding that if I was going to be going for the longer game, that more control options will be necessary. You want to remove those pesky upgrades. And I put 2 espionage back in for the same reason. The longer the game, the better the espionage is going to be. You're going to keep seeing it. You're going to get rid of those tricky cards. And I decided that I wanted to put another card in, but I was already at 40. I didn't want to cut any more cards, so I went for my 41st card, which was a single copy of Bravery. I wasn't prepared to add any more. 42 cards is probably too much, and I didn't want to. There wasn't anything that was an obvious cut for me, so the 1 copy of Bravery became my 41st card. I made some changes to my sideboard as well. Matt, you said that you'd had a lot of gain in blue matchups with your armed hovercrafts and quartermasters in the side. And
Oh yeah,
whilst
they're really good fun.
I wasn't prepared to main deck them. I was like, oh,
That's fair.
There could definitely be games where I'm going to want this. Armed hovercraft is a really difficult slot for the main board in Soundwave, because you're only at 2 ranged characters, which is not optimal.
No.
Yes, like if you see the armed hovercraft, yeah, you can attack with buzzsaw and play it straight away, which is great.
I mean, the
Then
dream is to have that and Quartermaster in hand,
yeah,
with both Buzzsaw and Aimless on the table.
But in the important matchups, you can flip down Buzzsaw on your second turn, right, and then move the armed hovercraft to Aimless, which is great. And then if you have a Quartermaster again later, that's great, awesome. So yes, my sideboard was 3 armed hovercraft, 2 Quartermaster, 3 Fog of War. I thought we might see a major shockwave, and I wanted an answer to him. That's been sat in my sideboard for a while. I've not actually used it yet.
You've scared him off already.
I have, yeah.
He already understands how strong it is.
2 copies of Infiltrate, for the aggro mirrors matchups. Whilst press was no longer a huge concern, obviously, there are other orange cards that are quite scary, and when you want your cassettes to survive, you need ways of doing that. Again, the evasive maneuvers were really good on the day. So yeah, we had 9 players for our last Wave 4 event. Oh no, sorry, wait, that's not true. 7 players for our last Wave 4 event. And there was a distinct slant to blue decks on the day. We had one aggressive deck piloted by Dan Galis, who was running Grimlock, Wheeljack, and Traxodon. Yeah, Traxodon.
Nice.
Which was just big guys hitting really, really hard. But he was the only orange deck on the day, so I was quite happy to with my deck choice on the day. Once I saw the field, my first round game was against Don Shields, who was piloting Superion, which was the other Autobot list. So we had 2 Autobot lists, only 1 aggro list, and the rest were Decepticons. So arguably, the banning of press has made people think about a few things.
Team Purple. Let's go.
Team Purple, absolutely. Yes, so Don was playing Superion. I don't think he's had much experience playing the deck. He was certainly making a few mistakes in our games. Not making the right attack sequences is really important. You really want to split your damage as much as you can. It's not so much of an issue versus blue, but I'm able to do a bit more. I'm able to do just as much pierce, I think. The bigger they are is dead in that matchup, but I've still got the pierce 2 on Ravage. He can flip down to give someone else pierce 2. I've got the cutlasses, I've got the angel axes, and I've got the burn as well. So the Inferno Breaths, the one shot stands, very, very relevant in those matches. He hadn't played against Soundwave before either. I don't think he left Ravage on 1 health. And then when I immediately recovered cassette, he was like, "So all that damage I've just done is gone." I'm like,
Yep.
That's all gone.
Heal 8 basically, plus
I've
if there was any damage on Soundwave.
I've just set you back like 8 damage. It's and that's really bad for Superion. Superion really relies on maximizing their burn and their pierce, and if you can just go, well, I heal 8, and they go, I've got to find another 8 damage then from somewhere. That is a big issue for it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, maybe they can get around it with multi-missile pod coming out. Maybe that'll help, but still, it sucks.
It still sucks. And the ability to discard, put a card from his hand to the top on my flip up, and espionage as well, meant that he was never going to be able to combine. So 5 separate combiners versus a 4 wide Soundwave was not great. I took the first game. I decided to sideboard in the Quartermasters and the Armed Hovercrafts, which obviously do a lot of work against combiners. And I also swapped out Aimless for Mirage in this matchup because the 7-cost Mirage Sentinel guy is Pierce 2. And Aimless's tough 3 was not doing anything. I believe I removed Aimless for Mirage. I took out a handheld blaster, 3 evasive maneuvers, and a bigger they are for the other 5 cards. So I was able to remove some dead weight and then apply more pressure with pierce and direct damage.
Nice.
Just being able to arm hovercraft once or twice versus Superion is a huge problem for him. 5 damage on the board, and immediately another 5 damage on the board is a pain.
You're getting
the second.
You're getting to photon bomb them, but you're not taking damage yourself.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Again, he was unable to combine, and I was able to just pick off his bots. I'm running 3 data pad, and especially against blue, if I see them early enough, I get so much off of it that I'm like, well, I've got all these options.
Data bank, right? Not
Yeah,
pad.
data bank, yes, data bank.
Bank.
I'm running 3 of those at the moment. Those are 3 of my whites. I will probably be cutting them for 2 pocket processors, depending on how I feel about losing the whites to gaining the ability to pick that card up. Because the earlier you see it, the better that card is.
Yep.
Especially if there's no answer to it, and you can just draw cards for days. I think in a couple of games over the course of the day, I had played 2 and was drawing 3 cards a turn. So good times. Second round was against Daniel Lowry. He was playing Nemesis Prime Flame War Aimless. I would imagine a very similar deck list to the chap from Saturday.
Nice.
Nemesis is probably due for a comeback in some fashion or another. He hits really, really hard.
Yeah, like
if the deck goes off and you've got 2 cards under him, you're like, well, he's
that's 13 base.
Yeah, 13 base. Deal with it, and you're like, my guy's at 9 health, and I'm flipping 2 to 4 cards on defense. Excellent.
Yeah.
So
Swinging for 10 plus in blue is just great.
It's
like
very
base.
scary.
Yeah,
it's very
it's
scary for
crazy.
me when I'm like, this is not good. This is going to be an issue. However, the 1 copy of Bravery was MVP in this matchup. I saw it early. Aimless was given Bravery, and having all 2 essentially nothing attacks run into Aimless from his 2 other guys, and then Nemesis having to go into him as well and not killing him. There was a mistake on Dan's part in the first game. He missed the Nemesis trigger. He flipped him down to deal 2 damage to someone, and then cycled his deck.
Oh no!
So yeah, he did not get to put a card under, and that was very costly. It meant that it took him longer to build up his base attack damage, and so repeatedly having to run into Aimless with no answer to the upgrade meant that I could then just keep all of my Pierce and just attack into Nemesis. And once Nemesis is gone, then the game's essentially over, because I can then pick off Flame War, and then Aimless is left on his own to die. So I was able to do that quite well. So I took that game. I decided to not sideboard anything, feeling that, hey, that went pretty well. If I see Bravery again, awesome. I did not see Bravery early on in the game. However, I was able to force the first Nemesis attack into Aimless anyway by flipping down Ravage and making him stealth, so that he just had to come in. I think I had killed Flame War first, and then was able to just bring Nemesis into Aimless, and even on +6, Aimless survived. He left on 2, and I was like, I think he probably dies on the next attack. But I was able to. I had found Bravery by that point. So the first attack from Nemesis was stealthed into him. I then found Bravery for the next Nemesis attack, which was +6, left him on 2. And I was like, well, no way he survives a third one, but we'll see what happens. Oh, I drew an evasive maneuvers. Well, evasive maneuvers, Aimless. So tough 6, mitigating the +6 was great for me there. And yes, the same thing happened. I was able to suspend all of my Pierce and Burn on Nemesis, and again, once he's gone, the game is straightforward sailing. So whilst it was nice to see Nemesis back, and there was a good idea there, I was able to mitigate him by forcing the attacks into Aimless. So many attacks just got wasted on him. He just lived through everything. It was ridiculous. And yeah, another 2-0 to me there. Third round was against Simon Monday, who I thought might have brought Shockwave. He also could have brought Superion. He's had success with both of those. But he brought Predaking out of blue.
Blue Predaking?
Blue Predaking, yep. And he's playing it very, very well.
Nice.
It's a very cool list, and it can be quite scary once he's set up. Once he combines and there's enough on him, you're just like, I'm gonna one-shot everything, and you have to not kill me, basically. And it's very like mid-range. So he sets up, he combines, and then that's his end game strategy right there. And away he goes. And I've tested a lot against it in the week, and it was pretty brutal. However, on the day, the changes that I made were very impactful. I believe I won the dice roll. So I went first, and I had Smelt Datapad in my hand. So I went first, did my stuff. He plays a Datapad and attacks, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be pretty well for me. Smelt Datapad of my own, data bank of my own. Sorry. So I've killed his card draw, and I've got mine. And unless he has an answer to it, I'm going to outdraw him. Again, the main deck Espionage is relevant, as well as the Pierce and the burn damage. I think I was able to bring Ravage out on my first turn, attack into Headstrong, and then later on, I was able to just burn it off with 3 damage whenever I needed to. Taurox is quite annoying. A Soundwave, you don't get to recover cassette, or you do, you just don't get to heal. So
it's just the 2 from Soundwave you don't get, right?
Yeah, well, the 2 from anyone really, not being able to heal aimless.
I suppose it heals anyone, doesn't it? Sorry, yeah.
So that was quite good. Again, running a lot of the Pierce was relevant, and yeah, I was able to do quite a lot of damage to Predaking before he combined, and then was able to withstand the attacks. He didn't, in fairness, he did not see a lot of weapons to keep souping up Predaking. I forced him to combine earlier than he'd probably like to, because of the amount of Pierce I can do. So he combined a bit earlier, and then just couldn't find enough weapons to get that attack up, which meant I was surviving his attacks and then having 4 attacks with either Pierce or direct damage. So it was pretty one-sided there. Sideboard was again very relevant. 3 armed hovercraft came in, the 2 quartermaster came in. I didn't sideboard Mirage. I figured that if I see the bravery early on aimless again, that will just be great. And yeah, the second game was very much a lot of the same. I did find the bravery. I was able to force attacks into aimless, recover cassette, and heal aimless. I think once, and then I think my first turn play was bring out Buzzsaw, attack with Buzzsaw, play an armed hovercraft, deal 5. Second turn, flip Buzzsaw, move the armed hovercraft to aimless, deal 5. And then third or fourth turn, I was able to quartermaster and deal another 1 across the board. And at that point, I think he combined with about 7 health left. So yeah,
not pretty.
So yeah, the sideboard was relevant in that game, and yeah, I was able to take it down and go 3-0 on the day. Very happy with the changes I made. Bravery was so good. Arguably, I should make room for a second. But it was
42
so
cards there, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at my list now, and I'm like, I don't really fancy cutting any of these cards. The evasive maneuvers were very good on the day. I don't know if they become the secret action to give someone tough 3. I probably don't need to run both of them, but I am at 25 actions already. So cutting 3 upgrades for 3 more actions might ruin my ability to play 2 cards on my turns, which would suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was quite a nice change. The extra paddings, having tough 3, possibly tough 4 on Soundwave is great, but Soundwave doesn't really kick out enough damage. He's only attacking for 4, 7 if you've got the aimless gun on him.
Yeah, or the axe.
Yeah, or the axe. So that he's not really a threat. The threat is from the ability to ravage is quite important. So being able to keep him alive and recover him out and attack with him again after you flip up to get more pierce damage through is very relevant in the blue matches. I didn't face any aggro decks, so I don't know how the changes would have fared there. I'm hoping that I would have been a bit more resilient to getting one shot, which is a big problem against aggro decks. If your cassettes get one shot, you're very sad because your recover cassettes become dead and your callous leaderships become dead, and you're like, this is not good. Again, bravery would probably be very helpful in that matchup to just 1 or 2 attacks before they kill aimless.
I guess
But yeah, so it was good.
If the infiltrates don't pan out, like now that the press is gone, then perhaps that can be subbed in for another bravery.
Yeah. I arguably I could look at my sideboard and see if I could fit anything in there. Fog of War is a really good answer to Major Shockwave. However, it is just for him. It's kind of like a silver bullet for that matchup.
Yeah, sure.
I think dedicating a 1 card slot to a single matchup isn't bad.
It's going to be a prevalent matchup, I think. So
yeah.
Also, have you considered heroism either as well as or instead of bravery?
Yeah, I looked at heroism. I mean, what fundamentally, what is the difference you're gaining from that?
It just means that you can attack with your main guy and not have to worry about them being tapped, because they can attack whoever they want. The damage is just going to go to aimless.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So you don't have to. You
don't have to hold back your main attacker.
You don't have to hold back your main attacker. Well, yes, that's true. But as I said, Soundwave isn't really a threat.
No, unless he's equipped with any pierce ability, then he's probably not doing much.
Sure.
I'm more than happy to slap a Cutlass onto aimless and send him out and guarantee 3 damage.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, arguably I might look at a second bravery in the sideboard. It was a good card. I'm very happy that I went to 41 it's one of those cards where you're like, well, I really would like to make room for this, but I can't.
You could also consider that new one, the one that gives them brave when they're tapped, with the black pip.
Yes, that is also an option.
If you're going the pierce route, it might be beneficial.
I will be looking to upgrade this particular list going into wave 4. There's a lot of really nice things coming out for it.
Yeah.
But again, I'm looking at it and going, but what would I cut for those cards? So
it's always the dilemma, right?
It is
cutting things is always hard.
But it was really nice. So the 7 players was really nice. We had a brand new player as well. Ian.
Nice.
Ian Finch was like, I've got someone interested in the game. He's brought in with a Soundwave versus Blaster box set. So he came down and was playing Soundwave out of the box with a few changes. He came last on the day, Aaron, but for coming last, I was like, well, here are some promos that none of us need anymore.
Yeah.
I still had loads of the gold foil promos, Smashdowns, and I've still got like 4 or 5 Omega Supremes. So I was like, here, just have one of all of these, and enjoy.
exactly.
Welcome to the game. You know, just give him more options. We also let him take as many cards as he wanted from our commons box, which was nice.
Nice.
So just getting more people interested. It's always nice to see a fresh face and new blood. Looking forward to growing the game as we go into wave 4,
Yeah.
which is very, very.
We're getting
soon.
there.
Oh,
The
very
player
soon.
bases are slowly growing.
It was nice. I was like, well, I came first. I came first in the event. It was like, well, I have everything apart from this red alert, so I'll take this red alert, and I gave out everything else to the other players. So I was just like, right, lads, this is our last wave 1 event. What don't you have? If you don't have a play set of the gold promos, here you go.
Yeah.
Just making sure everyone's got one of everything.
Similarly, that's what we did yesterday on the Saturday as well.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, what else are you gonna do with them, right? So, give them away. We've got new promos coming for the new season. So,
The Golden Lovers.
yeah, looking forward to the Golden Lovers. It's gonna be good. Hopefully, we're going to see the game grow. It's been a crazy year, actually. You know, just thinking back on the last year or so. You know, this time last year we were very, very much in the early stages of the game.
It was very fresh in our hands.
The last season, the wave 3 season has been very interesting. Obviously thinking about what made an impact from set 3 on the metagame, there's only really been 2 bots that really
it's mostly the bots, isn't it, rather than the cards.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of cool, interesting stuff with wave 3, but the only things off the top of my head that really made an impact, you know, rare bot wise, has been General Optimus, General Megatron, and Major Shockwave. Other than that, it's all been at the common uncommon level with the advent of the Battle Masters. So looking towards to wave 4, a lot of the rares look like they could be a bit more impactful than the previous rares from wave 3.
I just think so much of the whole set just looks more impactful.
Yeah, this whole set
good.
looks nuts. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's like at every level it looks good.
Yeah,
I think the Wizards have done a real good job. The R&D team without actually playing any of it. On the outside looking in, it looks really good.
That's what I mean. Like, just without playing any of it, you can just look at the set, just look at all the battle cards, and be like, well, that deck just got buffed. That deck just got buffed. That deck just got buffed. Buffs for everyone. Let's go.
I feel like I said similar things though for when Siege came out. Like when Siege 1 came out, I felt like I did.
Okay.
I can't remember for sure. But like,
I don't know. I definitely.
I looked at cards and went, this
Wave
looks
3.
really good. This looks cool. And then it just didn't get used. But
yeah, that's the thing. It did look like that, but if we look at the decks that really shined through in the Wave 3 season, you know, you've got your blasters, which didn't really use a lot of set 3 cards. You know, you've got your major shockwaves. Obviously, was the big set 3 change to the metagame, being the only real Decepticon list that could weather the storm of the Autobot domination. General Megatron as well, obviously done pretty well. It just took a while for the deck lists to be finalized. You know, Mondo did a great job with General Megatron, and it's been a fun deck to play since the Energon Open. It'll be interesting to see if General Megatron sticks around, or if Lord Megatron becomes the new toy there.
I think there's space for both.
Yeah, there's definitely space for both. Superion still
hanging around.
Wave 3, he was still hanging around.
Superion is getting buffed. Superion
he's
is getting
gonna
buffed.
be like Superion's going to be hanging around. Shockwave's going to be hanging around, I think. Blaster's going to be hanging around, although I think people will move away from him as the Wave 4 season goes on. It's going to be very curious, but yeah, the Wave 3's been a good period for the game.
I don't doubt that there'll be orange options
Bugs is getting
available
buffed.
to people.
Yeah, definitely orange options. Yeah, I'm really hyped for Wave 4. It's going to be so much fun. I have no idea what I'm going to build, like
First.
wise first. Like I'm going to probably concentrate on changing current lists that I like, and then
Yeah.
I'll experiment with brand new teams.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it would be very cool to see the game grow again over the next few months. Our release events are coming up. Obviously, the big release weekender.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so it's November 9th for Dice Saloon, and then November 10th, Sunday, for
Yeah,
Board in the City.
Board in the City in Southampton. I've got a couple of players already pre-registered.
Yep.
If anyone is interested in travelling to Southampton for the 10th for our release event, you can pre-register by contacting Board in the City. You can find their number on the Facebook page. Give them a call, and they can sort you out your pre-registration for the event. We're looking to add 3 packs to the prize pool for every person who plays, which is why the entry fee is £30. So you pay your £20 for your 6 packs to play. You're all going to get your Nightbird promo, but the extra £10 is going into the prize pool. So every player adds 3 boosters. 9 players adds a booster box. 18 players adds 2, and I will be filtering those down through the top rankings on the day. So looking to really get a good turnout for our release event. We're looking forward to it.
Nice. Yeah, it does sound really
we're all
exciting.
very hyped. So it would be nice to see a few travellers. It's always nice to see new faces.
Yeah, there's definitely talk about it in our crowd about coming over. So
excellent. It's going to be a good opportunity to possibly win, a few more boosters, possibly a booster box. Like if I get enough players, then first place may just take home a booster box.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
That would be really cool. I'd really like to do that. And then like Wave 4 is going to be interesting. Hopefully, we haven't heard anything about organised play going forward for next year. I was hoping that Wizards would have been like, "Yeah, don't worry, we've got you guys. It's cool." But I guess they just
think if we get anything about that, it will be at the end of year tournament.
Yeah, they've probably got
Quite
some things to drop on the crowd there.
If they're going to follow the same model of esports that everything else is, then that's what every other game does. They just save all their big announcements for the end of year tournament.
Yep. So yeah, we could get some information dropped on us there. It's going to be really cool to see how the game evolves going forward, and hopefully it'll just keep growing. You guys have got new players turning up at Brighton. I've got new players turning up at Southampton. I can only hope that elsewhere in the country is the same.
Yeah, absolutely. With or without organised play.
Yeah. If need be, we'll run our own tournaments with blackjack and hookers, right? That's fine. Yeah, cool. But yeah, I think that about wraps up everything on our agenda today.
Yeah.
I think so.
Anything else to discuss? You guys all done?
Yeah, no. Not much to add for me because I wasn't there this weekend, so I've just been kind of listening and reacting to you guys.
Oh, keep your eyes peeled out for the next flip bang bang article that James is working on at the moment. I know he's he's working on it at the moment. There's quite a lot of editing he has to do. He's got a lot of information to get through.
Okay,
so that's going to be
sounds
really
interesting
good when it comes out. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I've contributed to it myself. I believe Matt's contributed to it.
I have.
Nice.
It's going to be a
Slash am.
good, a good read, a very good read about the last year of the game in the UK. So
Nice. I look forward
keep
to
your eyes
reading it.
peeled for that. It's going to be good. But yeah, with all that said and done, I believe that brings us to the end of episode 8. We got through it again. So all that's left is to say it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from him.
And a goodbye from him.
Take care, everyone.